29, the Drug and Magic Remedies Act 1954. Objectives: history, Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954. Examples: the administration and consumption of drugs constitute an essential and basic requirement of creatures in the universe, be it mankind or cattle. Hence, the control and the regulation of drugs is very important given the impact they have on our bodies and our health. The need to secure better standards, quality, safety and the testing and monitoring of these goods is critical to the consumer's well-being. The regulation and monitoring is required therefore not only at the stage of manufacture and marketing of drugs, but is also critical at the stage of grant of approval for drugs. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 regulates the import, manufacture and distribution of drugs in India. The primary objective of the Act is to ensure that the drugs and cosmetics sold in India are safe, effective and conform to state quality standards. The Related Drugs and Cosmetics Rules 1945 contains provisions for classification of drugs under given schedules and therefore and there are guidelines for the storage, sale, display and prescription in each schedule. This act was originally passed as the Drugs Act in 1940. Circumstances leading to the enactment of this act could be traced back to the year 1927, wherein a resolution came to be adopted calling for the then central and the provincial government to take immediate measures for controlling the indiscriminate use of medical drugs and for standardization of preparation and for the sale of such drugs. Pursuant to such resolution, the then Government of India in the year 1930 appointed the Drugs Enquiry Committee under the chairmanship of Sir R. N. Chopra, called the Chopra Committee, and the original act was prepared in accordance with the recommendations of the Chopra Committee formed in 1930. Since 1940, the Act has undergone several major amendments, the latest being in the year 1995 and is now known as the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940. This Act was passed with a view to regulate the import, manufacture, distribution and sale of drugs and cosmetics. The Act was later amended to regulate cosmetics also. The Related Drugs Rules was passed in 1945. It was thereafter made applicable to medicines and substances used or prepared in accordance with the Ayurvedic Siddha of medicines, as it was found that these preparations had been commercialized and proper components were not being used or imitations were being used. The government, taking stock of the recommendation, set up a Bhatia committee in the year 1953 with the primary objective to exercise control over objectionable and unethical advertisements as practiced by the pharma industry. This combined effect of acting upon the recommendations paved the way to the enactment of the Act in question, Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954. This Act controls advertising of drugs in India. It prohibits advertisements of drugs and remedies that claim to have magical properties and make doing so a cognizable offence. The law prohibits advertising of drugs and remedies for inducing miscarriage or preventing conception in women, improving or maintaining the capacity for sexual pleasure, correction of menstrual disorders, etc. The schedule. An act to control the advertisement of drugs in certain cases, to prohibit the advertisement for certain purposes of remedies alleged to possess magic qualities and to provide for matters connected therewith. Important definitions under the Act. Advertisement includes any notice, circular, label, wrapper or any other document and any announcement made orally or by any means of producing or transmitting light, sound or smoke. Magic remedy includes a talisman, mantra, kavacha and any other charm of any kind which is alleged to possess miraculous powers for or in the diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment or prevention of any disease in human beings or animals or for affecting or influencing in any way the structure or any organic function of the body of human beings or animals. Cosmetic means any article intended to be rubbed, poured, sprinkled or sprayed on or introduced into or otherwise applied to the human body or any part thereof for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness or altering the appearance, and includes any article intended for use as a component of cosmetic. Drug includes 1. All medicines for internal or external use of human beings or animals and all substances intended to be used for or in the diagnosis, treatment, mitigation or prevention of any disease or disorder in human beings or animals, including preparations applied on human body for the purpose of repelling insects like mosquitoes. 2. Such substances other than food intended to affect the structure of any function of the human body or intended to be used for the destruction of vermin or insects which cause disease in human beings or animals as may be specified from time to time by the central government by notification in the official gazette. 3. All substances intended for use as components of a drug, including empty gelatin capsules. Misbranded. A drug will be deemed to be misbranded 1. If it is so occurred, coated, powdered or polished that damage is concealed, or if it is made appear of better or greater therapeutic value than it really is, or 2. if it is not labeled in the prescribed manner, or 3. if its label or container or anything accompanying the drug bears any statement, design or device which makes any false claim for the drug or which is false or misleading in any particular. Adulterated. A drug shall be deemed to be adulterated 1. if it consists in whole or in part of putrid or decomposed substance, or 2. if it has been prepared, packed or stored under insanitary conditions whereby it may have been contaminated with filth, or whereby it may have been rendered injurious to health, or 3. if its container is composed in whole or in part of any poisonous or deleterious substance which may render the contents injurious to health, or 4. if it bears or contains for purposes of coloring only a color other than one which is prescribed. 5. if it contains any harmful or toxic substance which may render it injurious to health. Spurious. A drug shall be deemed to be spurious 1. If it is imported under a name which belongs to another drug, or 2. If it is an imitation of or is a substitute for another drug or resembles another drug in a manner likely to deceive or bears upon it or upon its label or container the name of another drug, unless it is plainly and conspicuously marked so as to reveal its true character and its lack of identity with such other drug. Or 3. If the label or container bears the name of an individual or company purporting to be the manufacturer of the drug, which individual or company is fictitious or does not exist. If it has been substituted wholly or in part by another drug or substance. Or 5. If it purports to be the product of a manufacturer of whom it is not truly a product. Prohibition of advertisement of certain drugs for treatment of certain diseases and disorders. Under this Act, no person shall be involved in the publication of any advertisement about any drug that promotes a. miscarriage in women or prevention of conception in women, b. maintenance or improvement of the capacity of human beings for sexual pleasure, c. correction of menstrual disorder in women, d. diagnosis, cure, mitigation, treatment or prevention of any disease, disorder or condition specified in the schedule, or any other disease, disorder or condition which may be specified in the rules made under this Act. E. In respect of any disease, disorder or condition which requires timely treatment in consultation with a registered medical practitioner or for which there are normally no accepted remedies. Prohibition of misleading advertisements relating to drugs. Subject to the provisions of this Act, no person shall take part in the publication of any advertisement relating to a drug if the advertisement contains any matter which a. directly or indirectly gives a false impression regarding the true character of the drug, or b. makes a false claim for the drug, or c. is otherwise false or misleading in any material particular. Prohibition of advertisement of magic remedies for treatment of certain diseases and disorders. No person carrying on or purporting to carry on the profession of administering magic remedies shall take any part in the publication of any advertisement referring to any magic remedy which directly or indirectly claims to be efficacious for any of the purpose specified. Whoever contravenes any of the provisions of this Act 1 or the rules made thereunder shall on conviction be punishable. A. In the case of a first conviction with imprisonment which may extend to 6 months, or with fine, or with both. B. In the case of a subsequent conviction with imprisonment which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both. As per this section, no person can take any part in the publication of any advertisement referring to any drug in terms which suggest or are calculated to lead the use of the drugs for a. the procurement of miscarriage in women or prevention of conception in women, or B, the maintenance or improvement of the capacity of human beings for sexual pleasure, or C, the correction of menstrual disorder in women, or D, the diagnosis, care, mitigation, treatment or prevention of any disease, disorder or condition specified in the schedule to the Act or any other disease. Such types of advertisement lead the ignorant, the gullible and the unwary to resort to self-medication with useless, ineffective and sometimes harmful drugs having adverse effects. In respect of any disease, disorder or condition which require timely treatment in consultation with a registered medical practitioner, or for which there are normally no accepted remedies, and after consultation with the Drugs Technical Board constituted under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940, and if the central government considers it necessary, with such other persons having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of Ayurvedic or Unani systems of medicines as it deems fit. Section 4 prohibits misleading advertisements relating to drugs. As per this section, no person can take any part in the publication of any advertisement relating to a drug if the advertisement contains any matter 1. Directly or indirectly gives a false impression regarding the true character of the drug, or 2. makes a false claim for the drug, or 3. is otherwise false or misleading in any material particular. Section 5 prohibits the advertisement of magic remedies for the treatment of 28 certain diseases and disorders. Person can make an advertisement referring to any magic remedy which indirectly or directly claims to be efficacious for any of the purposes specified in section 3. Section 7 of the Act provides that whoever contravenes any of the provisions of this Act for the rules made there, A, in the case of a first conviction with imprisonment which may extend to 6 months, or with fine, or with both, B, in case of a subsequent conviction with imprisonment which may extend to 1 year, or with fine, or with both. Like many other legislations, the constitutional validity of this Act came to be challenged. The Supreme Court, in light of the several other precedents, whenever the constitutional validity of an Act is challenged on the grounds of violation of Part 3 of the Constitution, the subject matter is necessarily to be examined in the light of the true intent of the legislation. The Supreme Court thereafter was of the considered opinion that the Act is constitutionally valid, barring few provisions of the Act. In terms of the statement of objects and reasons of the Act, it indicates that on account of the increase in the number of objectionable advertisements, the alleged cures and the risk of self-medication mostly indulged by quacks. Despite the extensive legal framework, the regulatory mechanism is inadequate to ensure qualitative, standard, purified and salubrious drugs to consumers. This is evidently reflected in the prevailing drug situation in our country. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act does not address issues of access of basic drugs to the people and does not provide for information to consumers about essential drugs and of formulations and alternatives. Harmful or irrational drug formulations and combinations are prevalent in the market, and exorbitant prices of medicines prevent the poor sections of the people from availing. While state governments are required to regulate the quality and distribution of drugs and scientific and spurious preparations. However, the post-marketing surveillance program on impact of drug is minimal. The existing situation can be remedied by adopting a rational drug policy suited to the health conditions and diseases of the country. Remedies to prohibit drug and magic remedies misleading advertisements. There is need for self-regulation in advertising. Therefore, the Advertising Standards Council of India (ASCI) should adopt a code for self-regulation which would ensure that advertisement should be such that there is no violation of the code of self-regulation. It is necessary to identify the spots where the consumers are required to be cautioned in order to prevent them from being deceived by such advertisements. Disciplinary actions must be taken against doctors who advertise their services or against those who participate in advertisements for promoting a particular medicine, vitamin or drug. People should avoid self-medications via advertisements. A medicine that promises to relieve from ailments such as joint pain, etc., should not be believed unless it is prescribed by a certified medical practitioner. To strengthen the DMR Act, a member committee should be structured which may include drug controllers from different states, doctors and pharma association representatives. An Ayurvedic proprietary medicine called Camilleri was being promoted, claiming to be a sure cure for jaundice, viral hepatitis and gallbladder stone. The advertisement said the medicine had absolutely no side effects. The advertisement concluded Camilleri pills and syrup are effective even in critical stages of jaundice. One of the statements used was, if you have a bottle of Camilleri in your house, then jaundice is common cold to you. Following a complaint from a consumer saying that it had not helped him with his gallbladder stone, the commission sent a notice to inquiry and asked the laboratory to prove the efficiency of the drug. Energy drink maker and extreme sports sponsor Red Bull paid $13 million to settle a false advertising suit. The settlement also provided $10 cash or $15 in Red Bull product for customers who purchased a drink from January 2001 through October 3, 2014. According to plaintiffs, Red Bull's slogan, "Red Bull gives you wings," is an unmet promise. The problem is Red Bull's claim that its product will improve physical and mental performance and beyond the benefits offered by coffee or other caffeine products. November 2014, the Center for Science in the Public Interest (CSPI) filed a classification lawsuit against Coca-Cola for its deceptive advertising of vitamin water. The complaint was one in a series of legal actions taken against Coca-Cola since as early as 2009. While Coca-Cola agreed to change some of its labeling and marketing of vitamin water, including the addition of "See Nutrition Facts for more detail" on all its bottles, the CSPI believes misleading claims regarding the sugary beverage are far from resolved. In the current state of distress, this legislation could be best regarded as an enigmatic piece of legislation. The lack of enforcement machinery to achieve those objects is the inherent flaw therein. Claims of bold flutters of being a cure for the pandemic is nothing short of capitalizing on the fear factor of the public at large and not minding the risk of unforeseen repercussions, including death, due to such deceiving propaganda. As we see, many popular television channels themselves air such advertisements on their platform, making people fall prey to such advertisements. A few decades ago, some quacks claimed a magic cure for asthma and administered their patients with heavy dosage of steroids. It initially provided a sense of relief for the patients, but over a period of time resulted in Cushing syndrome, which is a consequence of prolonged usage of steroids, diminishing people's immune response and making them susceptible to all kinds of injections. Another major worry in herbal preparations is there is no standardization of ingredients. Therefore, every batch of medicine might have a differing potency of plant extracts, making the claimed cure itself questionable. However, any untoward side effect that could plausibly arise, which is beyond the comprehension of a human mind, the entire nation would be forced to counter one more challenge or a disaster. The Act ensures that the drugs and cosmetics are of the required standards of quality, purity and potency, and are packed in containers giving all the necessary information about them and their manufacturers. The Act encompasses within its broad sweep drugs used in different systems of medicine, namely allopathy, Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani.